Hey everyone. All right, so thank you so much for joining me one more time. Anyway, so we are continuing with our series on Africans and African Americans, and of course, one more time, I do have another response on that video about that couple in Ghana who were complaining everything. So I got another response sent to me, and this one is also bringing in another dimension. So I just want you to listen and tell me what you think about this response. Yes, for those of you who did not watch the original video about this lady, the link is there. All right, so let's just get listening.
An article about the three types of persons that have come to Africa and continue to come. One is the entrepreneur. This person sees Africa as a new frontier for economic progress and growth. We can look to YouTube and see these people who have launched businesses and have partnered with Africans that are on the continent. Two, the second person is the adventurer. This person comes because they see Africa as the dark continent, something to behold and something to come and conquer. And particularly with the new economy and the move towards modernity that Africa is experiencing, and their capital cities, places like Rwanda, places like Mozambique, places like Ghana, Central African Republic, where you have nightlife and you have vibrant life just geared towards people, the millennials and others who like that lifestyle of upbeat, up-tempo, and this is what they are, the adventurers, looking for. The third person is the idealist. The idealist has come to Africa, and particularly those we're speaking about coming from the Western Hemisphere, African Americans and so on. The idealist comes with a fixed idea of what Africa should be. Maybe they have read, and maybe they have traveled once or twice, and they view Africa as Africans also as their long lost home and their long lost sisters and brothers that they want to make the connection. In this, we will make the three analysis about and go into further detail about the move towards Africa. So, what do we have? We're looking at, let's start with the entrepreneur. Africa, at this point, is seeing mega growth. This was forecast about 10 to 15 years ago that Africa was in fact going to be the new frontier, the new economic frontier. This isn't new. This isn't new at all. We've had entrepreneurs come to the continent. However, in many exchanges between Africans and these entrepreneurs, it wasn't a fair exchange at all. Africans end up on the tail end of expansionism and economic growth. Economic growth was really at the hands of the colonials. And again, that was a subpar performance that allowed the colonials to gain economic advantage over the Africans. Secondly, we're talking about the idealist. The idealist, people, we can look at people from antiquity to modern day times. We see people coming and going to and from Africa. We have people, Martin Delaney, who was a freed slave, who was what people consider him being the father of Pan-Africanism or the Back to Africa movement. In doing so, he traveled to and from Africa trying to find some of the best places for freed and runaway slaves who wanted freedom in Africa. And he facilitated some of the the movements to Liberia. We also have Captain Paul Cuffey, who was a freed black man in America, born and raised, and he ended up transporting and helping the colony, the newfound colony of the British Empire, Sierra Leone, and then later on Liberia. We also had idealists like W. Du Bois and Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, all American born except Marcus Garvey was born in Jamaica. But they had this ideal, this way of escaping the brutality and the humiliation of blacks in the Western Hemisphere. So they looked toward Africa as a kinship, as a way to find the kith and kin on the continent and reconnect. So the ideal, and we know about the dangers of idealism, because idealists do not necessarily function in reality. And from the tone of many persons that are going to Africa and finding out that Africans are like anybody else, and there is no difference in behavior, maybe cultural. However, people are people wherever you go. The third person is the adventurer. When the adventurer comes over, we can go on YouTube and see young men and women going to the continent of Africa to partake in and seeing Africa as a playground. And we do know now the world is opening up for people to do their due diligent research on where they want to go and why they're going first. And they will see that the rise now, we see massive construction, massive work going on in Africa, bringing some of Africa's capitals back to life. We can see this going all around the continent, from Ethiopia to Senegal. We see infused capital from outsiders, and with the know-how and intelligentsia within Africa, we see now that many of these places now are coming into themselves. What do we mean? We mean that now that many of them have shook off the colonial yoke of the 50s and 60s and 70s, and many of them tried socialist economies or Marxist economies that did not necessarily work. But now we see capitalism overflowing in abundance in Africa, and Africans are taking a participatory role in their own future. Instead of being an outsider in your own country, Africans are now part of the development and growth on the continent of Africa. Now, speaking in general terms, we see that there are people, whichever category they fit into, are now finding some harsh realities about doing business or relocating to Africa. But we can only say so much to the point that Africans are people like anywhere else. So the exchange of information, the exchange of culture, you might as well do business somewhere in Paris or London or Madrid, because you're going to have the same outcome. And this is what many people that are going to Africa to find their fame and fortune, to find their kith and kin, to find that adventurous spirit are running into. They're speaking of, in order to get something done, you have to bribe certain people. In order to maintain a sense of modernity, in other words, constant electricity, running water, these things may be taken for granted while in the United States. However, remember, they're going to a different country, a different continent. And so the standard of living may be different. Again, the idealist thinking that they're going to escape the old woes of the West and go to a place like Ghana and then fall down and kiss the ground because they see themselves as being, quote unquote, home. But then, again, we just mentioned the true reality or the true nature of what they are getting into. And so now we have people that are saying that go back, go back, go back. But that's not fair. That's not a fair assessment when those who cannot make it or don't succeed and then scream, don't come over here, go back and stay where you are. That's not a fair assessment because those persons apparently did not do their homework and had that sense of what we talked about, the idealism or the adventurous spirit or the entrepreneur spirit. So is it fair to judge Africa because of their own misgivings and their own inability to do work and homework to find out exactly what they get themselves into? That's a question that is posed to you.
Well, so this is it. This is another response that I got. Okay, so if you also want to share, in your response or whatever, you can get in touch with me. Yeah, via my especially I love to get in touch via Instagram because I don't need to give out my personal numbers. I'll only give you when you come through that one, right? So this is the result. That let me know what you think. All right, let me know what you think about this because people are still continuously responding to that video about the Ghana couple, right? My name is Ziki, and if you're new to this channel, why not subscribe and stay? Hey, remember, I'm always here to give you all these updates, to give you everything. It is what it is, right? Until then, kisses. Oh, child. Okay, so I will say, oh my God, my computer. Proudly Zimbabwean.